I'm going to answer the oldest question in human history right now in this video. And the answer is going to make you feel like the ground shifted beneath your feet. Philosophers argued about this for 2,000 years. Scientists fought about this for centuries. Religious scholars wrote entire books about this. And most people alive today still think nobody knows the answer. They're wrong. We know. Science figured it out. And the answer doesn't just solve the question, it breaks something fundamental about the way you see reality. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Let's go. First, let's understand why this question drove humanity insane for so long. On the surface, it seems simple, almost childish. But the moment you actually think about it, your brain hits a wall. If the chicken came first, where did the chicken come from? An egg. But where did that egg come from? A chicken. But where did that chicken come from? An egg. It's a loop, an infinite, maddening, beautiful loop. That's why Aristotle, one of the greatest minds in human history, called it an infinite sequence with no beginning. That's why ancient Romans used this question to describe anything that had no solution. That's why for 2,000 years, the greatest thinkers on Earth looked at this question and walked away, because it seemed like a question that breaks logic itself. But here's what all of them were missing. One thing, one single scientific breakthrough that changes everything. 2006, a team of scientists at the University of Warwick and Sheffield finally cracked it, and their answer was this: the egg came first. But not in the way you think. Here's what actually happened. Millions of years ago, there was a bird very similar to a chicken, but not quite a chicken. Scientists call it the proto-chicken. This proto-chicken mated with another proto-chicken, and during reproduction, something extraordinary happened. A genetic mutation occurred. Inside the egg, a single protein called OC17 was produced for the very first time in the shell of that egg. This protein is only found in chicken eggs. It literally cannot exist without a chicken producing it. But here's the extraordinary part. The first creature to produce it was not yet a chicken. It was the proto-chicken, and the egg it produced with that mutation inside hatched into the very first true chicken ever. The egg existed before the chicken, but the egg could only be created because of what happened inside it. The chicken was born from an egg that had never been laid by a chicken before. But hold on, because here's where it gets truly extraordinary. That answer, the egg came first, only works if you define the egg as a chicken egg. But what if you define it differently? What if the question isn't about chicken eggs, but about eggs in general? Because here's the thing. Eggs existed for 312 million years before chickens ever existed. Dinosaurs laid eggs. Fish lay eggs. Reptiles lay eggs. The egg as a concept, as a biological structure, is one of the oldest inventions in the history of life on Earth. Chickens have only existed about 58,000 years. So, if the question is, which came first, the chicken or the egg, the answer depends entirely on what you mean by egg. And this is where philosophers and scientists still disagree. And this is where it stops being a biology question and starts being a philosophy question about definitions, about meaning, about the nature of questions themselves. Because here's the real question hiding inside the question. Can something exist before we have a word for it? And now, the part that will actually keep you up tonight. This question, this ancient, silly-sounding question, is actually one of the most profound questions ever asked, because it's really asking, does the universe have a beginning? If everything has a cause, what caused the first cause? If every chicken comes from an egg and every egg comes from a chicken, then somewhere, something came from nothing. And that idea, that something can come from nothing, is the most terrifying idea in all of human thought. It's the question at the heart of every religion, every philosophy, every scientific theory about the origin of the universe. The Big Bang, something from nothing. God, something that always existed. Quantum physics, particles appearing from empty space. They're all trying to answer the same question, the one you've been asking since you were 5 years old, standing in front of a chicken, holding an egg, completely confused. You weren't being silly. You were asking the deepest question a human being can ask. So, which came first? The egg. Technically, scientifically, if we're talking about chicken eggs, the egg. But here's what I want you to take away from this. The fact that a question sounds simple doesn't mean it is. The fact that something sounds childish doesn't mean it's worth asking. The greatest questions in human history all started with someone pointing at something ordinary and asking why. A chicken, an egg, a falling apple, a flickering candle. The people who changed the world weren't the ones with the most sophisticated questions. They were the ones who refused to stop asking the obvious ones. So keep asking, even when people laugh, especially when people laugh. Share this with the smartest person you know. Let's see if they knew the answer.